And welcome to your Guam Congress building. I am so pleased and privileged and very, very honored today to be here amongst our very important guests, our VIPs for today, our war survivors. And so I just want to welcome all of you, and I want to give a round of applause to our war survivors for joining us this morning. We'll continue to say this message throughout our press conference, and today we're here to discuss the events and activities surrounding the 74th anniversary, the commemoration of the Mañenggon Memorial Foundation. We remember the forced march to Mañenggon and many other locations around our island. And so, again, we're just so blessed and honored to have our survivors here with us. They are the reason for all of our efforts throughout the year. They are the reason that we will be celebrating not just tomorrow, which is War Survivors Remembrance Day, not just on Liberation Day and on July 8th, which is our event date, but all throughout the year. Because without them, we would not be here, this building would not be here, and so we really, truly celebrate them, we honor them, and we thank them for their courage, for their faith, and for their resilience, which has really brought us all here today. I'm very honored as the chair of the Mañenggon Memorial Foundation to be here alongside my board members, and I'd just like to take an opportunity and welcome all of them and thank them for their commitment to our movement. And so I'd like to start first off by acknowledging our president, former Senator Willie Flores, to my right. My vice chair, Rosanna Villagomez-Ugin, to my left. We also want to acknowledge to Senator Flores' right, Stephanie Flores, Polly Eric Forbes, Mayor Jesse Blas from the beautiful village of Jotnya. And to Rosanna's left, we have Susan Dugan, our treasurer, Marisa Ampinko Paredo, and Tina Alicto. Also, members of our board who are unable to make it today are First Lady Jerry Gutierrez, Tenrita Franquez, Simeon Palomo, and Speaker BJ Cruz. So we want to thank them as well for their commitment to our movement. At this time, before we begin the rest of our program for today, I'd also like to thank and acknowledge for their presence today the Mayor of Inarajan, Mayor Doris Flores Lujan, the Mayor and Vice Mayor of Barragata, June Blas and Jesse Bautista. And just because he's so great, I'll acknowledge him again, Mayor from Jotnya, Jesse Blas. Oh, and the Vice Mayor of Jigo is also here with us, Sudus Masi. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to my Vice Chair, Rosanna Villagomez-Ugin, for the introduction of the Mañenggon Memorial Foundation members, Sudus Masi.
Thank you, Senator. We have an active committee to plan the events during the year, and so I'd like to introduce the active members. Of course, our chair, Senator Jean Bisco Lee, our foundation president, Willie Flores, Stephanie Flores, Father Eric Forbes, Mayor Jesse Blas, Susan Dugan, and Tina Licto, and some of our members that are down in the audience, Will Flores, Bella Santos, Jennifer Dizon, Bing Santos, June Taitano, Jessica Merrill, Joe San Agustin, and not here today are Bobby F.J., Chauncey Colbert, and Simeon Palomo. And so without these active members, we would not be able to do what we plan to do each year to succeed in honoring our survivors. Thank you.
And as we mentioned at the beginning of our press conference, this entire effort and all of the work that we do throughout the year, culminating in our July 8th event, is really about acknowledging our survivors. So at this time, I'm very honored to have our president, former Senator Willie Flores, acknowledge our war survivors.
Buenas noches a todos hamzu, magufam todos na man matamzu ni manay nan mami. No sa ginin hamzu na matu i tiningo mami, matuli na la mami. Jan ginin hamzu na todo esti i minet good, jan i minaguf na in Sicily giza hamzu. Sa hamzu ginin hamzu na istaba durante ni tempo ni gera, utungo na mege pinidasin midzu, mege chinat sagan midzu, jan lokwi bula un hahasu na ti jan midzu sangan sa pudia man napiniti. It is really my honor to introduce our honored guest today. When we first started working on this memorial in 1997 or 6, I forget, it was so long ago, there were thousands of our Manamco survivors. So the ones that we have worked very, very closely with, very precious memories to all of us. Oh, I want to say also that that's the last time our board and staff will get a hand, because we normally tell them the only clapping reserved is for our Manamco heroes, and we want to keep it that way. But thank you, folks, for acknowledging them. But at this time, we have some very special people with us, and I don't have them in the correct order. So as I mention your name, would you please just raise your hands, and then we'll do a big clap for them afterwards. Okay, so she was the last one to come in, but she'll be the first one to be mentioned. Maria Calvo Bisco. She was at the Mañenggon camp. She had marched to Mañenggon. She was 7 years old when the war started. She was 11 when the war ended. And in case you're wondering, yes, she is related to our chair. Okay. We also have Tunben Meno, who was at Omafit. Those of you who don't know the story of Omafit, the folks from Malesso and Inalahan were taken to several places in Inalahan to be marched to Mañenggon. Some of them made it to Mañenggon, some of them did not. They actually had them march from Inalahan to Malesso and then back to Inalahan again. So in Inalahan we had Omafit, Pajestis, and there was one more site that I forget. Tunben was 9 years old when the war started, 13 when it ended. Then next to Tunben, we have Antita Duenes. She was at Omafit and 9 years old, right? When the war started, I believe. And 11 was it? No, she was 12 years old when the war started. 13, I'm sorry, see? 13 when the war started. And 17 when it ended. Then we have Tansuzi and Uncle Ben, who are honorary Mañenggon lifetime members. I want to tell you a real quick story. When we first opened the Mañenggon Memorial down there, we were working on the place, and this older couple came down, and they got out of their car. We had just started opening and clearing the place, and they said, "We want to help." And I said, "No, you're not going to help. We're here. This is for you." But he refused, and so Tunben joined the young men side by side and helped us bushwhack that place down and helped open it up to the place where it is now. So we have a very special place in our hearts, and Auntie Susie even wrote a song about Mañenggon that undoubtedly many of you have heard. They were born two weeks apart, and I'll let you guess which one is older, but you figure it out with them. But they were born 2 weeks apart. They've been together ever since they got married. They were 12 years old when the war started, 15 and 16 when it ended. And we have Rose Camacho, who refused to join us because she's young. She was a child when the war started. Then we have Tunwan Guzman, also a perennial honorary Mañenggon member. Tunwan ran the whole route from Agat when we first opened the Mañenggon Memorial, and he carried the Mañenggon flag. Where's that flag? The Mañenggon flag. Back there. By the way, as a footnote, this flag has been in use in Mañenggon since 2004. This is the last year we are going to use this flag. We're going to retire it and put it in the time capsule. So the folks who come down, the Manamco who come down to Mañenggon, we will be asking them to sign the flag. So Tunwan was 7 years old when the war started, 11 when it ended. And then our guest speaker for this year is none other than Natividad Calvo, Auntie Nati. She was 2 years old when the war started, 6 years old when it ended. Then we have Auntie Anita Chargalav Naputi. She was also at Umafit. She was 9 years old when the war started, 13 years old when it ended. I'd also like to introduce other members of our committee, who participated in a very, very special event. And the event was the planning of the memorial monuments that we're going to put up next year. Next year being the 75th, we're going to put up some monuments. Right now, there's a monument planned for the village of Jigo. Jigo, Mayor, Vice Mayor, please raise your hand. Where are you? Okay. Then we also have a monument planned for Tizan. As you know, the Tizan, thanks to Vice Speaker Terlahi, the site in Tizan where one of the Japanese headquarters was and where our people were taken to be either turned over or beaten, has been turned over to the Mayor and Vice Mayor Barragata, and it'll be under their jurisdiction, so we want to ground break and construct a memorial there next year. Mayor June and Vice Mayor Jesse, please raise your hands. And then we have also in Hagat. Hagat is not here. Mayor Kevin is not feeling well. But he was actually one of the first ones we were working with because he received permission from the Navy to construct a permanent memorial, our people's memorial in Hagat, probably in Fena. But we're still trying to find out if he wants to do it at Fena or at the old cemetery. And then, last but not least, we have the Mañenggon Memorial under the jurisdiction of, Hagat's not here, right? Under the jurisdiction of Mayor Jesse Blas. Jesse, please raise your hand. And we will be building a memorial at Mañenggon also. Our Monument Advisory Committee, we asked several Manamco war survivors to join us in planning our monuments. The philosophy of the monument, as you know, the Mañenggon Memorial, the fountain down there and the park down there, our basic tenet has always been simple but elegant. Simple but meaningful, right? Real and practical but meaningful. And so our advisory committee consisted, and raise your hand please as I mention your name, Tansay Duenas, please raise your hand. Uncle Roman Kanata, please raise your hand. Uncle Roman, okay. Auntie Julie Villagomez, she's not here with us, she's off island. And David Flores, who I know very well, please raise your hand. Yeah, there you go. So we asked the Manamco, we asked the war survivors, what is it that you think should be key elements in the fountain? Not the fountain, I keep going back to the fountain, in the monuments that we erect. And these were the key elements. The Lari stone to symbolize the strength of the Chamorro people has to be in there, okay? Water to symbolize life has to be a part of the monuments. And then the sling stone to symbolize our heritage. And then something else, something symbolic to represent those who, those who fell during that time. So we've incorporated all of those elements into the model, and I would like to thank my family for taking part in this. And we've had a lot of good hands in there. I don't need to mention them by name because this is something we feel we need to do, since all of us have parents and on both sides of the on both sides of the family that were at Mañenggon or at Asinan or any of these other places, Umafit. I mean, our people were all over this island. We also this year had the gracious visit. Polly Eric was able to arrange for us to meet with Archbishop Burns. And Polly Eric, could you take 30 seconds to kind of summarize our meeting?
It came to me that since Archbishop Burns is brand new to our island, and he's taking time to get to know us, what a wonderful opportunity for him to really get a slice of our people's history and legacy by being the presider and preacher at the Mass July 8th at Mañenggon. So he graciously accepted. I wrote a historical summary for him to review, and several members of the board met with him. And he shared with us that he has a little bit of a personal insight into the trauma of war because his dad's brother, his uncle, fought in World War II. So he's very happy to be with us at the Mass.
At this time, without further ado, Mañenggon, you know, when you put together something as meaningful as this, there's always bound to be something you forget, or something you overlook, or something at the last minute that changes. And the only reason I'm saying that is because for the next few minutes, we're going to be totally Mañenggon, and we're going to have organized chaos. But I promise you, it'll be all worth it. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to unveil the monuments for next year. The proposed monuments for next year. I'd like to, before we do that, I'd like to call your attention to the illustration on the right. That is the original Mañenggon Memorial Master Plan that you see, I mean on the left, I'm sorry. On the left, on your right, my left. That is the Mañenggon Memorial Master Plan. Those are the elements that we want to put in the memorial. The first on the right, the illustration of the map of Guam on the right shows the places where we have verified through different accounts of the survivors what happened and where it went. And so we're missing a couple of places there, and we will update that this year. And then truly heartbreaking, the last illustration there is a story about the men from Agat who were taken supposedly to go to Mañenggon and then carry arms to Chagüiyan. And somewhere between Hagat and Mañenggon, I don't know if you recall the story, some were a lot of people were taken to Fena, and very tragic there. But these 12 men never made it. Nobody ever has heard from them again. So this is the kind of outreach that Mañenggon Memorial, we exist only to serve who, Senator?
To remember the stories of our survivors.
That's right.
And those who have gone before them. And
we here who are here today, we should feel very, very special because we are in the presence of our own real heroes. I mean, we were on Vet Talk the other night, and I told the host of Vet Talk, I said, you know, our war survivors and you veterans have something very much in common. All of you have stared down the barrel of a gun, and our war survivors have stared down the barrel of a gun. They've stared down bayonets. They've been beaten and whipped, and yet here they are today as a testament to their faith and their strength and to inspire us. And so without further ado, I'm going to ask Senator Lee, our chair, to lead, first of all, the mayors, and then some of the Manamko who want to join them. There's going to be 2 unveilings, so please be careful. The mayors, would you please join Senator Lee down on the... Okay, Senator Lee, she's got a good solution. To join, the first unveiling will be by the lady members, the female members of our Manamko survivors. So mayors and the ladies of the survivors, would you please join them at the left? And the audience, we're all going to do a count, okay? So mayors and Jessica, can you help them with the unveiling, please? Let us know when you're ready so we can do the count.
Just a minute for us to get organized here. And then we'll do a countdown and unveil this side. Auntie Natty? Nana? Auntie Susie? You want to come over right over?
Gentlemen, survivors, your turn, please. Join on the other side. Yeah. I am sorry, I would be remiss. I was just reminded that I missed our own very own Uncle Joe Crisostomo. Well, I'm very sorry about that, Uncle Joe, and we told him to make sure he was here. Please give him a big hand. Yeah. William, go forward, gentlemen. My dad is Uncle Davis. I know he's flirting. Yeah, he is. Okay, they will be unveiling the second version of the monument. Assisted by Polly Eric of our foundation and assisted by Speaker BJ Cruz. Okay, is everybody ready? On 3. 1, 2, 3. Please unveil. As the Manamco are taking their seats, we would like to talk about the elements of the models. We'll talk about the elements of the models, and then we'll open it up to Q&A for either the Manamco or the board. As you can see, each model has laddie stones. The tallest laddie stone on each model represents the strength of the Chamorro people. The shorter laddie stone, the shorter laddie stone represents the young folks growing up who the Manamco, the war survivors, have given inspiration to. You'll notice that on each model there is a fallen laddie stone. That fallen laddie stone represents those who were killed or badly tortured during the war. It represents those we have lost. You'll also notice that the first model has an opening in the center, roughly in the shape of the sling stone. The second model has a raised sling stone as its base in the center. And then you will notice that the second model also has the element of water in it. And so, with that, we were able to incorporate the elements, again, that the Manamco wanted, which was the laddie stone to symbolize the strength of the Chamorro people, the water to symbolize life, the sling stone to symbolize our heritage, and of course, the fallen laddie stone to represent our fallen people. At this time, I'd like to open it up for any questions you may have for the board. The Manamco are still over there enjoying the model. Please give them time. If you have any questions about the event coming up on July 8th, if I could ask Senator Lee to summarize that.
Thank you so much. We also want to take this opportunity to invite everyone here, all of those who may be watching on TV, and we want to thank our media partners for helping us to get out this information about Sunday, July 8th. So on Sunday, July 8th, we will be converging upon the Mañenggon Valley. For those who aren't aware, that is located between Jotnya and Talafofo, and we'll be meeting right there at the Ilig Bridge intersection. The march to Mañenggon will begin at 2 o'clock. We will then, we will also have trolleys available for those individuals with disabilities, and of course our VIPs, our survivors who aren't able to make the march in. We will march in beginning at 2 o'clock. Our festivities will begin at the Mañenggon site at 3, We will then have a mass celebration, as Polly Eric had mentioned, celebrated by our Archbishop and co-celebrated by Polly Eric Forbes at 4. And then we have a dinner celebration hosted by the Mayor of Jotnya at 5 o'clock. And so we want to invite the entire community to join us. This is a wonderful opportunity for us to continue to share our stories, not just about Mañenggon, but about our entire experience during the war, and to really honor our survivors. That is our main mission here. Our kind of tagline is Hasu Mañenggon, and we want to continue to perpetuate that and continue to remember all the things that happened there and ensure that we never forget. I also just want to make sure that we acknowledge Speaker BJ Cruz, who has joined us, and also I want to acknowledge Senator Tina Rose Muñoz Barnes, who's also been a member of our board.
Are there any questions regarding this year's events or next year's 75th? Yes, ma'am. No, there's nothing different. We wanted to, some of the way we do the ceremonies will be a little different, but basically all the elements the same. Next year will be quite different. This year will be very familiar to any of you who have been down there.
I do just want to mention that every single year, the one thing that is really difficult for us and is different is that every year we have certain survivors join us, and sometimes in the next year they're no longer with us. And so that's one thing that we make sure that we remember all of those who have gone before us, whether it was during the war or in the years after, and we continue to feel their presence at Mañenggon, and we continue to remember them and their stories as we move forward with our events and in preparation for the 75th.
Okay, at this time we'd like to go ahead and close the press conference. The media, feel free to, of course, speak with our honorees afterwards and ask them, but we would like to take a group photo with the board, and bear with us with the board and our honorees, if that's okay with everybody. And then we'll open it up. Okay.
Mr. Sam, my dear Uncle Sam, thanks for coming back to Guam. Bring at the landing for July 21. People were happy right here in Guam. Oh, Mr. Sam, my dear Uncle Sam, thanks for coming back to Guam. The Army came after in good advance. Marines hit the Japanese and gave them no chance. Oh, Mr. Sam, my dear Uncle Sam, thanks for coming back to Guam. Automatic rifles and some hand grenades. American Marines will never be afraid. Oh, Mr. Sam, my dear Uncle Sam, thanks for coming back to Guam. If Iwo Jima was a bloody fight, American Marines, freedoms and right. Oh, Mr. Sam, my dear Uncle Sam, thanks for coming back to Guam. The capture of Saip and connected with one. American bombers dropped many bombs, oh Mr. Sam. Sam, my dear Uncle Sam, thanks for coming back to Guam. Now that you come back, we're very glad. You know how we people treated by the Japs, oh Mr. Sam. Sam, my dear Uncle Sam, thanks for coming back to Guam. 8th of December 1941, people were crazy right here in Guam, Mr. Sam. Sam, my dear Uncle Sam, won't you please come back to Guam? Submarine destroyers and lot of battleships out in the ocean, 30 miles speed, oh Mr. Sam. Sam, my dear Uncle Sam, won't you please come back to Guam? Marine met the landing for July 21. People were happy right here in Guam, oh Mr. Sam. Sam, my dear Uncle Sam, thanks for coming back to Guam. The Army came after in good advance. Marines killed the Japanese and gave them no chance, oh Mr. Sam. Sam, my dear Uncle Sam, thanks for coming back to Guam. Automatic rifles and some hand grenades. American Marines will never be afraid, oh Mr. Sam.